I really don't know if anyone's talked about this topic. It's more or less just something that I've been seeing a lot of recently, with the Brat Summer, Yellow Cree, bunch of other things, but I feel like this applies to a lot of social media trends. I swear I'm not crazy. I think just in general that there's this cycle of what gets thrown around, and yeah, I really don't know how else to explain this. There's like, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, I think, in this strange cycle. Obviously, this is like a very unprofessional chart of how I think trends cycle around. But yeah. So usually a sort of media or music gets really, really popular. It blows up, and when it gets really, really big, they get a lot of positive reception. And it's basically only positive reception. You don't really see anyone being really negative of this media. Well, they might be in private, or they might be silently, but that's going to become, I think, a little bit relevant later. And usually following this, maybe we'll see profile picture cult. I don't think it happens all the time, but profile picture cults, they've been around for a long time. I think like the oldest one I can think of, remembering off of the top of my head, maybe, were those like Genshin McDonald's or like Genshin Christmas thing. That's like the only one I can think of that I can like, that have been so far back. But there's been thousands of profile picture trends like A-Train, or there was a short time with Yellow Cree where it was a short profile picture where everyone had profile pictures of the characters. And most recently, with the Brat profile pictures, those ones I've been seeing like everywhere. But I think they've died down a little bit. But the media is basically everywhere. Like, you cannot escape it. You'll find edits, you'll find maybe like fact slideshows if it's a type of like consumable media, all those types of stuff, and it's going to be everywhere. And the part of it that I like see happening recently with Rat Summer is those people who were originally really silent about, their hatred of this media is, open about it, and they're like, hey, I hate this thing, and I think it sucks, and I think it's horrible, and I think it's overrated. I hear overrated a lot. And then a bunch of people kind of agree with that. They're like, yeah, this thing sucks. And now everyone kind of hates this thing simply because it's popular, or because they see it a lot. Not necessarily because it's, anything worth hating, I guess, which is completely fine to not like something that's popular. It's completely fine to dislike something. It's just that it kind of cycles around fast, where it's just like, I really don't know how to explain this. And then everyone just kind of jumps on that hate wagon and makes fun of people who enjoy the media. Like, they'll say, oh, this song, this artist, this whatever is overrated, and I don't know why people like them so much, and if you like it, you're whatever, it like, everyone's like, oh, this thing sucks. And yeah, once that trend basically dies out because everyone, hates it now, they'll rinse and repeat with whatever trend comes up next. And sometimes, maybe like a couple years into the future, they'll go, oh, you guys remember when blank, blank, blank? And then it's like a nostalgia for this trend that died out. And everyone's like, oh yeah, I remember that, it was so fun. And basically they have the opposite reception that they were when it originally was dying out, if that makes sense. And I already listed a bunch of examples of this that I think are like pretty common, such as, Yellow Cree, Welcome Home. Welcome Home, I think this happened too as well. The Brat Summer. And I can't really think of any other like recent really big things. But yeah, it's just kind of a bummer that like things garner such crazy popularity, and then as soon as somebody talks about disliking the media, everyone just kind of like jumps on it, because like I wasn't really involved in like the Brat Summer thing. I think the music's fun, I think it's interesting, and I really didn't mind the profile picture thing. But recently, Roblox game Dress to Impress collaborated with the artist Charlie XCX, right? And now I'm just seeing a bunch of people going, the music is lame, and if you like this music, you're a loser. And in general, I just feel like things die out a lot quicker than they usually do. Like, I don't get to enjoy a short piece of media or like something with a bunch of people when it gets a bunch of popularity, and then immediately following that, like, people hate it. And it's it's completely fine to dislike something for whatever reason. You don't even need to have a reason. But I think it's okay to be mindful of, somebody enjoying something, and you don't exactly have to comment it. I just think that, like, the whole being a hater just for the sake of it is a little weird. And I think I'll be talking about that in a much longer-winded way sometime in the future. I have it, like, in my topics to talk about. But long story short, this cycle of trends used to be... It didn't, like, end this short. Like, Yellow Cree, I really like their music, their characters, their little story. And to see people, like, very hateful and rude and mean just because their music was getting popular and there were a bunch of fans of it, driving somebody off of the platform simply because, the trend was dead, or because you think that a bunch of people are trend hopping onto something, is insane. And I think that's, like, common sense, really. But yeah, the mob I know it's, like, really stereotypical, but in many cases I think the recent, like, trends that have been dying out is really just, like, how fast the mob mentality is working. And I don't mean that in the stupid little redneck way. I mean that in the way that as soon as somebody feels like they're not with the rest of the group on something, they kind of, like, jump to it. Like, I don't know how to explain it, really. But yeah, I wish trends didn't die out so quickly, because I remember Welcome Home, like, how many years ago was that? It was only a year, right? Seeing a bunch of people generate fan content for Welcome Home, and a bunch of people having Welcome Home profile pictures, that was cool, that was fun. And I think I'll talk in greater depth on that topic as well. just because the fallout was crazy. But I don't see trends or things surge in popularity last that long anymore. I don't know. Is this just a me thing? We'll never know. So I'm gonna add on to what I originally started recording, even though I already finished, the editing process. So I'm just gonna add a little bit on here. But yeah, just as I expected, now it's like a lot of people posting their unpopular opinion that Brat was overrated, which is unsurprising. I expected as much, that these videos would start popping up with their like unpopular opinion, but then it becomes the popular opinion because everyone kind of jumps on that bandwagon. But I wanted to talk about something else that originally wasn't as big when I was originally recording the video, and that was the rise of this like TikTok joke, I guess, and it's the very demure, very mindful thing. And even though it's like not that funny to me, I still like, it's one of those things that just gets big, you see it everywhere, and I'm like, okay, it's cool, but it's not even been like a week, or maybe even like less than a week, a little more than it, whatever. It's basically just been this week, and now people are like saying that the very demure, very mindful thing is, one, annoying, and two, that the person saying it is ugly, which, hello, that has nothing to do with like the trend and whatever. And I think I'll make a full longer video on just how terribly mean some people can be. But seriously, like, I know I said it like I'm sure I've said it multiple times in this video, but oh my gosh, it is okay to keep some opinions to yourself. It really is. And it's just like, I don't know. That was just an added thing. This was not in the original recording, but I think it just had to be said. Yeah. Anyhow, if you've had a similar experience with this, or you've kind of noticed this happening a lot, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you had an experience of some sort with this, or you have another weird chart thing about the trend cycle, I'd love to see it. I'd love to hear it, or read about it in the comments. Yeah, that's all.